we haven't really talked about the Skeletons, Jake.
Can I say something before for the Pelicans before you get to the game itself? Because I'm going to tell you, you were right here, and I was wrong.
Oh, thank you. Yes,
you know me. I like to do that here. I know some people don't hear on radio sometimes, but I was wrong. You were right.
I'll be wrong one day.
No, I wasn't talking about you. The uniforms are fantastic. And at first, I wasn't sure about
Well, I didn't
them.
like the uniforms either.
I didn't like
until I
love
saw the
them
court.
now.
Yeah, until I saw the
But even like without the court makes them probably. But I was wrong about the uniforms.
Yeah.
You were right.
And it also doesn't – well, no, but again, I don't think I was right because I think I was kind of meh on them at first also. I also don't think it hurts that they seem to play really badass every time they're in them. And it's nice to see –
That is true. They do.
It's nice to see something that that is reminiscent of Louisiana without just falling back on Mardi Gras, right? And granted, still falling back on some tried-and-true themes and – the voodoo type, but again, I keep thinking of the Shadow Man from Princess and the Frog. They are the Shadow Men, and the green smoke before the game. You got AD calling for the anthem. You got Zion tweeting out the anthem after the game. You got Brandon Ingram absolutely dominating, dude, setting the tone immediately. So you lose to the Pacers after that crazy flight stuff and everything else on Wednesday, second night of a back-to-back. You got to come home and play them on Friday. That's a damn good Pacers team. The Pelicans needed to make a statement. What'd they do? Brandon Ingram takes over. First quarter, you go up 48-26, and you never look back.
Yep.
Just immediately shut the door and say, okay, you got to see that. Well, guess what? Now you're in our house, you're on our floor, and it's our time. Okay, up there, it's their time. Down here, it's our time. You know that song?
No.
Goonies. Andy, Goonies. Trey Murphy heating up as well. Look, if Trey Murphy plays like he has played this past week, like if that becomes more often than not, that is what pushes the Pelicans to being an actual playoff threat, in my opinion. And Brandon Ingram is doing something, Jake, that we've seen him do. Now, last year, injuries kind of screwed this up, but you think back to a couple of years ago, he will heat up when the games get most important. And he will start to take over at the end of a year. He was the one that carried you through the play-in a couple of years ago, and it looks like he is starting to do that again. So a fantastic night. The Pels now in sole possession of the 5 seed. Great Friday from the Skeletons.
So when you look at the Pelicans, and we've talked about the rotation, and sometimes it feels like it hits, and sometimes you're wondering, okay, did you give this guy enough minutes? Did you play this guy too much? And I don't think it's really about the rotation. I think it's about what you talked about, like Trey Murphy doing what he does off the bench, and if he can hit shots. And then if you get an efficient McCollum, like if he's efficient, it's just a different basketball team.
Yep.
And like that's what he was the other night. He's 4-7 from three-point line, and he was plus 30 in the plus-minus. Like that feels like the two biggest things for me when it comes to the Pelicans because, like, I like their bench, and we like Larry Nance and Jose and the guys coming off the bench. And then you have Jordan Hawkins that in the playoffs could be a key piece because of his shot-making ability. But I think it is Trey Murphy and C.J. McCollum, like those two players. And for Trey Murphy, same thing. If he's hitting his shots, and how much can he give you off the bench? And then if C.J. is just efficient, because when he's efficient, it's a completely different basketball team. And, you know, there's some nights when he goes 1 for 9 from beyond the arc. Like, you can't have that. Like, so that those two things to me, if the Pelicans are going to have playoff success, that's the two biggest ones for me.
And look, I know, and to CJ's credit, I think he's at a career high in 3-point percentage right now.
He's playing. I think he's playing good basketball.
42 or
so I don't want it to sound like if you can get more consistency from him, but he's so key to this team.
Yes. Yeah, I'm merely reinforcing your point by saying that he's done a good job of adapting to that new role, becoming more efficient, less volume, and it's paid dividends. Taylor, Alondra, whoever wants to do it, can I get a stat check on C.J. McCollum 3-point percentage right now? I thought Jonas Valanciunas was massive at the beginning of this game as well. Showing a little stretchability, fighting down low, really bullying, big boying. He's at 43%. There you go, 43% for C.J. McCollum right now. And, yeah, we're not even getting into Herb Jones. But that's the great part about this Pelicans team. I'm not used to it with this franchise especially, but it almost feels like the LSU baseball team where it's like I don't know who to talk about because I could talk about everybody. We just did 5-7 minutes, however long that was, and nobody even mentioned Zion Williamson. And there's no need to. Not that he's not great. I mean, he's still point Zion, the ball handler. He's been excellent. He was excellent the other night, but he doesn't have to be otherworldly. And you've got Herb Jones continue to produce more and more on the offensive side. Like we said, shooting over 85% free throws, over 40% from three, over 50% from the field. So the Pelicans appear to be playing better and better basketball, even surviving like the little 2-game losing streak. Like, I don't mind that, right? It's almost like you've been so conditioned to be waiting for the other shoe to drop that they're gonna screw up, they're gonna lose their way, and it's all gonna go awry. And they keep showing you that, no, this is a different team. This is a team that deserves your consistent belief. And that, yeah, they again, sustainability is the word that we have been talking about throughout the entire year. And that continues, chat, relax, guys. That continues to be shown night in and night out as the season goes on.
I do wonder, like, going back to rotation, what it will look like in the postseason, in a series. And that's the hope. The hope that you get to a series, you don't play a play-in game. Like, what does it shrink down to? Are we talking about, obviously, your 5 starters, and then Murphy certainly is coming off the bench, and Najee Marshall and Larry Nance? Like, where would Hawkins and Jose kind of fall into that? Because, as we know, like, the postseason completely changes from the regular season. There's things that you need. Like, Jose's defense will be valuable. Like, him getting under the skin of a Chris Paul or whoever they play in the postseason feels like it can help you win. And then Hawkins' shooting ability. Like, sometimes in the postseason, even though you're only going to play 7 to 10 minutes per game in the regular season, if you can make shots, maybe that changes the rotation there. So it will be interesting to see how many players they play. Does Najee Marshall still continue to get 20-plus minutes a night because he has something that he brings to the squad, but maybe the postseason changes that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many are generally in a postseason rotation.
8.
So I'm saying that seems like a good 8 right there. You got your starting 5, and then let's throw in Najee, let's throw in Larry.
And see, then you got Trey, Jose.
Oh yeah, because Trey's not in the starting 5.
Trey's not in the starting 5 when
I'm throwing in
CJ's
Trey
available.
first. So Trey first. Trey's 6. Like, Trey's
he's
absolutely
6.
has to be a major role.
Najee's
down
probably
the stretch.
7.
Najee's probably 7.
Nance is 8.
And then
Jose would be. That's where you have to. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you
then
pick
you
your
get
spots.
it's a rotational piece at 9.
Yeah.
Whoever like matchup based. What do you need that night? Who's got it that night? I think that makes you a good, versatile, adaptable team come playoff, and it gives you some interesting folds you could throw in over the course of a series, right? Where you can represent a few different looks, and so maybe it becomes a bit harder for a team to kind of put a stop to what you're doing.